Welcome, everyone. I'm Samyak, and welcome to the podcast. As our first guest, we have Shourya, who is co founder at DawnLabs. He is building AI powered augmented reality glasses. His goal is to build AR glasses that have actual use cases, and they are the only ones, once they hit the market, that can be used both in a tethered and an untethered manner. So, he's also been local host fellow, so you must have seen him on Twitter already. So excited to have him. So I welcome Shaurya.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. What's up?
All good, man. All good. So let's start with who is Shaurya? How did he get into tech? Why is he building AR glasses?
अच्छा ठीक है. Who is Shourya तो बता ही दिया. You went ahead and gave a fantastic intro, but I'll try to chip in with as many things as I can. Why did I get into tech? I think it's every founder's thing. Ki you want to build something that's super cool. It doesn't matter whether it can help people. It doesn't matter if it's valuable, if it has actual use cases. As long as it's cool, you'll do it. And that's kind of what I did the first time I started up. I made this.
Mhm.
So I really enjoy playing the guitar. I got my Trinity grade 8 certificate at 14. When I was in the 11th grade, I ended up making this app for musicians to find each other so they can jam. And we did an open beta in Mumbai and hit 1,000 users organically. And then immediately COVID happened.
Mhm.
So khatam, app ended right then,
Mhm.
right? And in the middle of in the middle of COVID, I really didn't have much to do. So I sat in my house watching Marvel movies on my iPad, and I thought, kash, hum kuch bana pate. I wish we could make something that would be as cool as Iron Man, or as cool as Ant-Man's suit, or even Falcon's wings, or any of the tech that you see in Marvel movies, whether
Mhm.
it's the three I mentioned, or even when you go to different superheroes. So that's when I started thinking about what it would be like to get into hardware. And lucky for me, I'd already worked with hardware since I was 7, since I was 8.
Oh.
Kind of took help of TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. As a 7, 8-year-old, I would be in the labs every weekend for 2 and a half months. So that was really, really important for me.
Mhm.
And since 2017, I got into like AR, right? My whole thing was when I was a kid, like when I was 14 years old in 2017, whatever age I was,
Mhm.
I thought, when I get older, I will have money and then I will buy AR glasses because AR glasses are super
Super
cool,
cool.
right? Super cool. And then, we saw Google Glass launch in 2014 and fail by 2017. Focals by North come up by 2017 and then get bought out by Google in 2020.
Mhm.
Magic Leap, Magic Leap was the poster child of mixed reality. And they raised almost like close to $1 billion. And all they could manage to do was sell 6,000 units of Magic Leap 1. 6,000 units. And the company died.
Mhm.
Nothing happened after that, right? And you saw all these incredible companies with some of the best minds in the world try to make this, and nobody was able to get it right. So eventually, my thought process became, yeah, okay, when I get older, I'll have money to buy AR glasses, but who is building the AR glasses?
Mhm.
Nobody's building AR glasses that I want to buy,
Right, right.
right? So in 2020, I started researching AR even more
Mhm.
because since 2017, I was following it, and then I realized, yeah, I'm 17 years old. There's no way I can build AR glasses. Screw it. Let's let it be. And in 2023, just on a whim, I entered a business pitch competition with the AR glasses idea, and I ended up doing pretty well. I withdrew by the end of it because like it wasn't worth it. But in the first phase, I did really well, and that's when I started researching optics more and more and more and more. And I wrote this doc on optics that
You shared yesterday. Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, you can link it
Yes, yes.
maybe. So if you want to learn anything about AR optics, you can read this doc. You can DM me on Twitter because I think it's one of the most fun fields out there. But yeah, so eventually did a lot of research, built one prototype, then the second prototype, then the third, then the fourth, and now we're at the fifth,
Mhm.
which is the one that I most recently posted on Twitter. And that's kind of how I got into this. I got into this because I thought the technology was cool, and I got into it because I thought the technology was of the future. But the problem is, it's been off the future for the last decade,
Right, right.
right? Nobody's making it tech of the present.
Right, right. Now you feel like the tech when it came out in 2014, it was too early.
It was too early.
Now I think it's the right time for the market.
Yeah. Not only is it the right time for the market, but people are warming up to having glasses that do more than just hold lenses in front of your eyes. We've seen with the Meta Ray-Ban that people are beginning to accept smart glasses.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
it needed that push and it needed the time to be right, but people are beginning to accept smart glasses. And, the AI glasses market is now rapidly heating up. And it's my opinion that AI glasses, just AI glasses, they're a red ocean market. If you enter AI glasses, you better do it with insane distribution or reach, insane amounts of money, or insane product optimization that nobody else has been able to bring before. Because it's a super red ocean market. मतलब वो market खत्म हो गया. I still think that AI glasses, just AI glasses, are the equivalent of BlackBerry.
Got it. Yes.
And AR glasses will be the iPhone because it'll be able to bring all of that together.
Mm-hmm. So what you are competing is a total different domain. You are not competing with Meta Ray-Ban. You are not competing with Google XR.
No, we are not competing with any of those things. We are, in fact, competing with phones.
You are competing with
phones.
Right.
With AR, the competition isn't with AI glasses or even VR headsets because these are product categories that, on their own, in their own right, are incredible. I'll give it to them. But I just think AR is where it all comes together.
Right.
AR is where you have the display qualities of what you would expect with a Quest 3 headset, but in the form factor of glasses, and the ability to talk to your glasses or show it the world that you would find an AI glass. That super large scale adoption will happen when people realize that these glasses can do anything you want them to. I mean, I'll give you an example. The iPhone 1, where it was launched in 2007, and it had an accelerometer and gyroscope for orienting the screen, right? But the most viral app for iPhone came in 2008 with this stupid little app called iBeer.
Right.
Daru wala beer,
Daru wala
right?
beer.
And nobody would have expected a simple app that is a beer ka glass on your screen. When you tilt your phone, you're drinking the beer. Nobody expected that.
Mm-hmm.
But the app was downloaded tens of millions of times, and it became the biggest party trick in 2008, 2009, 2010.
Yes.
And that virality meant that anybody with an iPhone at a frat party was pulling out their iPhone at these frat parties to do this little beer trick. And that made everybody around them want it. It's my opinion that with AR glasses, your job is to give people fundamental use cases that have been serviced by you. But your job beyond that is to give them tech that is flexible enough for them to build out into their own use cases. Like our job as hardware manufacturers, the people who create platform for people to build on top of, is not to service every use case that they have. It's to give them something that they themselves can use to service every use case that they have.
And it has always been, in most cases, you can't define the use case prior.
Absolutely. And you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice by defining the use case.
Right.
I mean, I'll give you an example. GoPro was initially supposed to launch as Surfcam. Okay. GoPro's name was going to be Surfcam.
Oh.
They changed it. I don't know if they changed it because it was a legal issue or because they thought of this. But had they launched as Surfcam, it would have been a camera for surfing. They launched instead as GoPro, which meant it was an action cam for anything you needed, anything POV.
Yes.
You want 4K recording at POV with a box that is durable, it's GoPro. Had they launched at Surfcam, if you needed to record a video while surfing, it would have been Surfcam. We don't know how people are going to use our products. Our job is to give them something that they can mess around with.
Let people have their creativities and create use case by themselves.
Exactly.
So your recent post on 5th September. So the glasses are finally out of prototyping stage.
Yeah, they have entered super late stage prototyping.
So what are the timelines? When can we expect to see the glasses in the market? Like, when can I buy these glasses?
So you can buy these glasses way before anybody else.
But let the general public.
Yeah, the general population. I think this is the first time I'm going to come out and say this publicly. But our timeline right now is that we're going to launch the glasses and open up pre-orders properly, fully, like a public pre-order in December.
So it's pretty close, just 4 months.
It's pretty close. We already have a very internal private pre-order thing going on right now, but that's not open to anybody because the glasses are just not there yet. But the plan is to launch by December. And again, take this with a grain of salt. Hardware, mein anything can go
Yes,
anywhere.
yes, that's totally unpredictable.
Yeah. But yeah, December, and the plan is to then finally ship in summer of 2026.
That would be really cool.
That would be fun, right?
Yes. So when I was trying to learn about how AR glasses actually work, there's enough content on how AR works, but how does AR glasses work? There's not enough content on this. If you could give us 5 minute short review on how do AR glasses work, that would be really cool.
Cool. So you got to break it down into a couple of things. On a macro scale, you have to look at the types of AR glasses that are available right now. Then for each, you have to look at optics and connectivity. When you go macro, you're going to realize that of all the consumer-facing AR glasses available right now, you find these two segments, okay, basically. Segment number one is where they use birdbath displays.
Right.
All right. And you can read more about this in my doc. But they use birdbath displays. They're also called BB modules because birdbath. And these displays have a resolution of 1920 by 1080, usually a billion color gamut, which is amazing. And a refresh rate of like 120 hertz, which is pretty comparable to what you'd have in current, like normal screens on your phone, right? But the thing is, it ends up creating an image that is anywhere between 100 to 150 inches, depending on how far away the VID is, virtual image distance. All right. So let's say, hypothetically, the glass creates a screen that's 140 inches in diagonal, all right?
Okay.
But it's not going to be like 140 inches is placed in front of you, so it's like this big. That covers your entire FOV. That's not possible, right? So what ends up happening is that 140 inches fits into your FOV, which is your field of view. And with that, you find out what your virtual image distance is. Basically, how far away are you viewing the image from virtually, right? If your image is 140, all right, it's going to end up being this big, around like this big, right in front of you. And you are viewing it from around 4 meters, right? That is the VID, virtual image display. Along with this, your FOV, which means the field of your vision that is covered by the screen, is going to be around 40 to 45 degrees.
Okay.
All right? Because we measure FOV in degrees, because it's a degree thing.
This.
Yeah, perfect. So you have these birdbath optics ones that are really, really nice when it comes to the image quality, but they're heavy and they always have to be connected to either your phone or your laptop, right? Which means that they don't have their own onboard battery. Now they've started having their own onboard compute, okay, for different like hand tracking and 3DOF and things like that. But usually they don't even have their own onboard compute. Basically, no chipset, no SoC, no MCU, none of that. So all of the compute and power and data comes from your laptop or your phone. Essentially, it ends up acting as an extended display.
Right.
That's on your face. Now we go to the other side. Over here, we had birdbath modules with really good image quality. Now we go into the future, waveguides, right? Even with waveguides, you've got three types. You've got diffractive, reflective, and holographic, right? Most people are using diffractive waveguides, right? And the way this ends up working is you have a tiny little LCOS or FLCOS projector over here. And now that has started becoming micro LED, right? For better colors and better refresh rate and things like that. You've gone from LCOS to micro LED, right? On birdbath side, it's micro OLED, right? On the side of waveguides now, where we're coming in the future, it's micro LED. So you have a tiny projector that projects into this aperture, this tiny hole into your lenses. And then there is a series of guides that guide the wave of light into a view box. That's why the name waveguide. So you have an aperture over here, which is where the projection comes in. You have a waveguide that guides it down, and this is your view box. This view box has gratings, all right? These are surface relief gratings, SRGs, in the case of diffractive waveguides. And these surface relief gratings basically are lithographed, etched things into the acrylic of your glass, the substrate, that basically hold light into an image. And that is how you see the image on your view bar.
Got it.
Now, the best part about that is it's incredibly low form factor, very minimalistic, great footprint, and can look good and be very light. The drawbacks are it's super expensive, and right now, consumer ready. The resolution is around 640 by 480 pixels. And the most consumer facing ones are just green. It's not RGB, it's monochrome,
Okay.
right? Which means it's just green light that you can see. And even in terms of what you can see, it's text, it's basic icons, navigation, things like that, right? So think of it as a very simple heads up display. So over here, you have great image quality. You can watch a movie on it. Over here, you can barely read the text, but the form factor is great, right? Examples on the birdbath side, you have Rokid, you have Vitor, you have TCL, and you have, of course, XReal. And on this side, on the waveguide side, you have a bunch of different companies that are coming out with waveguide glasses. The most popular ones right now have been Even Realities G1, Vuzix Z100s. Meta is coming out with the Meta Hypernova later this year, which is going to be an $800 waveguide based glass. Simple heads up display, right? Even folks in Harvard, I think Halo.sh, you can give them a look. They're pretty cool. So they also launched waveguide glasses, but they're all HUDs. And apart from Halo, I think Halo has a camera on it. Apart from Halo, none of these glasses have cameras on them. The Z100s don't. The Even Realities G1s don't. The Meta Hypernova most likely will when it comes out. But on the XReal, Rokid, Vitor, TCL side, none of those glasses also have cameras. Vitor has very recently launched 4 glasses. I think some of them have camera attachments. Even with XReal, you can separately buy a camera and attach it. But largely, that's how AR glasses, the whole spectrum look. Our goal is to kind of be in the middle and service use cases that both these sides want.
Got it. That was a pretty good explanation, man. You do have a very deep knowledge about it. Optics was not your domain. Although you had some hardware experience in the past, optics was not it. So you had to research a lot. So
Yeah.
what are your methods or heuristics, or like how do you go down into these rabbit holes such that you can eventually at the end of it build something?
Makes sense. So when I started in, I think 2023, this was when ChatGPT had burst on the scene. I think GPT-2 was the public launch in 2022 or something like that. I don't remember. So that was there for a lot of people. They were using it for research and for basically completing their college assignments and things like that. Of course, Notebook LM was not there at the time.
Right.
Notebook LM is an incredible tool that you can use now to kind of explain your textbooks to you and notes to you, but it wasn't there at the time. So one thing I didn't do, there was no particular reason for it, but I just didn't end up doing it, was use AI to help me learn. And I think that was a good decision.
When did you actually start using AI in your learnings?
I still properly haven't, to be honest. I just use, my views on AI are very different. I have very extreme views on AI. I don't think AI generated content should be used in any final facing or consumer facing, presentation or anything like that. I don't think AI generated text, videos, or pictures should be shown to people because they don't deserve that. But that's a completely different thing. I know a lot of people will call me totalitarian or very prudish with that take, but that's just what I believe in. I didn't end up using AI in my learning process, and I still kind of haven't. It's not a conscious decision, it just didn't end up happening because back then AI was new and I wanted to stick with what I knew. So for me, learning optics was a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of blog posts. I think ANSYS, ANSYS, had a series of YouTube videos on how to learn optics. And of course, there was things like MIT OpenCourseWare and things like that. And they're incredible. They are absolutely incredible. But that was, I don't know, that was 300, 400 hours of my optics research, which has spanned 5,500 hours. I'm not pulling this number out of my ass. I mean, I actually worked that much because you spec it out over 2 years, you can kind of see how that ends up happening. But I think most of my optics research came when I started ordering optics and messing with them and trying to see how it works.
Tinkering is where you learn the most.
Tinkering is where you learn. Research is where you can form a foundation. When you tinker and research, then you have an immense knowledge base that kind of nobody can take away from you.
Got it.
So I first started out ordering DLP, digital light processing chips, from Texas Instruments, and I had made some money by this point. doing a bunch of different things. So I was able to order that, and then we switched from that display technology to like this free-form display thing. And so I ordered a free-form display thing and from Alibaba and kind of learned how it worked. Then when I realized the limitations of the free-form display with an FLCOS screen and this like one-dimensional prism surface where the light was the image was forming on, that's when I started researching birdbath modules. And eventually I got super clear in understanding how birdbath modules work. I was lucky enough to find a vendor with whom I could co-design a birdbath module, and I have been using those modules ever since. And they are the modules we use in the glasses that you saw on Twitter. They are the modules that will be used in the final glasses that ship. I think learning anything is about kind of getting your hands
Dirty.
not even dirty, but just burnt.
Okay.
Like you gotta burn your hands with this stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like dirty hands you can wash, You cannot wash away scars or burns. And I think scars or burns are how you learn.
Go all in, either you don't.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you either go all in or you don't. But even when it comes to learning or doing research, you can't just be like, theek hai, it's fine. I'll stop here. I don't want to get deeper. If you really want to learn something, you have to use things to learn them. Otherwise, you'll have a master's degree in swimming and then you will drown because you never actually stepped in a pool, right? So that's I think what this is.
Initially, you mentioned Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. This is where you were introduced to hardware and tech for the first time.
Yeah.
And I believe like it's the initial years which sets up the trajectory. Tell us a little about what you did as a kid at TIFR and what were the things that you learned.
As a 7-ish-year-old, my mom used to take me to this recurring event called Chai and Y. And Chai and Y was very simply put just TIFR's community outreach program. TIFR would get, like they even got a couple of Nobel laureates. They would get their own faculty members. They would get some of the most promising PhD students, some Nobel laureates visiting India on like research meetings and things like that. They would get them to come and have a talk on their field of subject matter expertise in either Prithvi Theatre or Ruparal College or Ruya College in Matuga. And so these guys would come, right? They would come to Mumbai. Most of them would already be from Mumbai. They would spend the first hour talking about their field of research and kind of walking you through it. And then you'd have a short 15-minute break where you had the chai. And then the next hour was the why. That's where you ask questions. So my mom ended up taking me to these events a lot. And I would end up being the youngest person there, right? Because my mom is like insane that way. She's amazing. And she would take me to these events. And I was lucky enough to meet the head of community outreach at TIFR. The then head of community outreach, he has since retired, Professor Surendra Kulkarni. Is an incredible human being, absolute gem. So he kind of took me to TIFR with mom and things like that. And I ended up visiting a bunch of different doctors. I remember Dr. Devjyoti Vardhan at the time. He was working on laser labs. I think it was some spectroscopy related stuff. So his lab was really fun. And then we visited like a bunch of other labs. I ended up going there for the Venus transit when I was a kid, which we didn't end up actually seeing. Because in Mumbai, when the Venus transit happened, it was cloudy. So we didn't end up seeing it. And I even remember the person who was conducting the Venus transit telling me, you are the youngest one here. The next one is happening 118 or like 115 years later. You have to be alive for it happening. Okay, so you have to live 115 years more so you can see the next Venus transit. So you have to promise me that. So that was fun.
Super cool, man.
More than just hardware and tech, going to a place like TIFR when you're that age does an incredible job of desensitizing you to the magnitude of research.
Okay.
And while I don't have formal research in any of these technical fields, you end up realizing just how much people have to work to be given the honor of being able to research what they want to research.
Right.
So just being there, right, just being able to research your field of expertise or something that interests you is a gift. And I think it's not something that most people are able to get, which is an incredible shame. Because I think everybody likes something. And if they research their something, I think the world would move a lot faster in a very positive direction.
So if someone is in the middle school or high school and watching this, so highly suggested find something around you.
Well, no, if someone's in middle school and they're watching this, I don't know why they're watching this. It's about like Doraemon or something. Um,
No,
like
kids
I
these days are
just
crazy, man. These are like,
yeah, no, I mean they would eat me alive if given the chance. But no, if somebody is watching this, I think yeah, find something that interests you. I think every person when they're a child wants to be an astronaut or something like that, right? And I think there's that level of childlike wonder that exists in every child, hence the term. But I think the people who have that with them for the rest of their lives are incredibly lucky because curiosity is a gift. People who are curious should be grateful. So if you're a middle schooler or if you're a high schooler and you're interested in something, be interested in that. I think there's no shame in wanting to be interested in tech or science or research. I think it's incredibly cool. And I think just being interested in it is enough. Continue to be interested in it. And I think you'll be able to find out so many things that you wouldn't have been able to find out otherwise.
okay, so you majored in business, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So usually when someone starts working on something, the first people, the first team is usually someone from the college. You don't have access to easy talent pool. So how did you go about finding your technical co-founder, or how did you go about finding a team that you can work with?
Right. That's a lovely question. First of all, if you're thinking of starting up and you're like, oh, I'll go to business school and learn how business is done, you will not learn how business is done in business school. You will not learn much of anything in business school. You're absolutely right when it comes to not having a talent pool in my college. Nothing against my college, it's just not a technical college, right? My process of finding a co-founder was incredibly like serendipitous. First of all, I have to say this. I don't think I would have started this company had it not been for my college, regardless of my interest in AR and the research I had previously done.
Mhm.
I started this company because of a professor in college who told me, take this idea to that pitch competition. Who knows? It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Time pass over. Fine, sure. Her name was Dr. Sukanya. She was incredibly instrumental in me starting this company
Mhm.
and even thinking I could do any research in optics at all. She has an insane background in biotech and chemtech from IIT Roorkee and things like that. So that's fun. But I started the company and I got the privilege to put up a stall at Mumbai Tech Week in 2024, January or February 2024, one of those months. And that is kind of how I happened to meet my co-founder. This next section is going to be largely about my co-founder. He's awesome. So I put up the stall in Mumbai Tech Week, and I had like this banner about saying Dawn AR, which is what we were called at the time. And I think I'd gone to eat lunch or something.
Mhm.
So this guy comes up to the stall. I'm not there. I'm eating lunch. He sees Dawn AR. He's like augmented reality. Holy shit! He finds me on LinkedIn. He texts me. We meet. I think the next weekend or that weekend, like in 2-3 days, and we instantly like hit it off when it comes to our understanding of the field. What I did not know at the time was his insane work history. He'd been to Cranfield University in the past and then went to CMU after that, which I think is super awesome. And then from CMU, he worked in a bunch of VR and robotics startups. And when he came out of those startups, he came back to India and he wanted to work on something of his own. At the time, he took a pause on that and joined another big AR Indian company whose name I will not disclose. You get why. We met right before he joined them, and he was super, super interested. And he joined them, and of course, we remained insanely good friends.
Mhm.
Like we met every week, every weekend, and we just riffed around, thought of ideas, what we could do, what could be fun.
Mhm.
Eventually, he ended up saying, "You know what, Stuart, we got to start something." And my lifelong dream has been to start something of my own, especially in this space.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, let's be co-founder. And I don't know, 1.5 years later of getting to know him super, super, super well, I kind of felt the same way as I did when I met him the first time,
Mhm.
right? And insane amounts of proof of work. Even now, he led product at one of India's biggest smart glasses launches that happened in the last month. You know, like he led product there, and super, super stoked to have him on board. I think when it comes to co-founders, it's super hit or miss because my company did have a co-founder before this, and that ended horribly. And that ended up just not working out because the guy with whom I was a co-founder He just ended up not replying to me for 2 months and things like that. And these things apparently are very common.
So the first co-founder who you know personally, or did you meet him online?
Exactly. I met him online. And I think that is where I fucked up. Co-founders are super hit or miss. Even if you meet someone for the first time and you start a company with them, like it's a proper 50-50. You can know someone all your life and start a company with them and it crumbles in under a year. Or you can meet someone the first time, start a company with them, and you suddenly have $1 billion company. Right? It's a proper 50-50. You cannot predict when you'll get lucky with a co-founder, but when you do, you will know. And with Pranjal on board, who is my co-founder, I've got lucky with him as my co-founder because it's insanely difficult to find a good co-founder who knows not only knows their shit as much as you do, but also is as passionate about the field as you are.
Right.
I think Pranjal is all those things and more. He brings this wealth of experience and calm that I don't have. Right?
Yes, yes, you do need the balance.
Exactly, and it's lovely. And when I was like super down in the dumps about not having a co-founder, my friend Arman from Anomaly Bio really like helped out with sharing his understanding of what it is to find a co-founder. How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Because Arman and Samyak are co-founders, and they're incredible people. And their journey as co-founders is something that I think as some of the best ones in the ones I've personally seen. So yeah, shout out Arman for kind of helping me with that. That's how I ended up finding them. As for a team,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your duty to put yourself in as many high signal places as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you don't belong there, you will find the right people. You know,
Okay.
yeah. If you feel any shred of imposter syndrome
Mm-hmm.
or that you don't belong there, you will. There's a good chance you'll find the right people. That is my understanding of it. I think group chats are incredibly helpful, where people just add people with whom they're friends. They think they're super high agency. They just add them on a group chat. Like tomorrow, I'll be picking up a friend from the airport whom I met on a group chat,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to crash in my place for a couple of days. So I think group chats are where you'll find really cool people. And also, when it comes to a team, I think don't quote me on this,
Okay.
but it's really helpful to poach.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really helpful to poach.
So two big lessons here. First one, put yourself in high signal places where you feel that you are an imposter. And second one, poaching sometimes help.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, it's like I don't know how many people watch football here, right? But I'm a huge Man United fan. When Man United signed Robin van Persie was absolutely insane. But they signed him from Arsenal when he was a finished striker already. He was a proper finished product. And even in Sir Alex Ferguson's last season, 2012 to 13, Van Persie had 20 plus goals, right? And that was super instrumental in us winning the league. Conversely, when we signed a couple players now in this era, we signed someone like Anthony from Ajax for, I don't know, like 100 million euros or like 80 million euros or something like that. Some bullshit number.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony did not work at Man United because we signed him thinking of his potential, thinking of his promise. Sometimes that ends up working, sometimes that doesn't end up working. He wasn't a Premier League player. He wasn't a finished product. He wasn't a striker either. Let's be honest, he was a winger and he could also play on the wing back, I think on the right side. But nonetheless, he was known for making these explosive runs in. He was known for being able to dribble the ball really, really well. And he seemed like the perfect prospect in the Dutch league,
Mm-hmm.
right, in Netherlands while he was playing in Ajax. But Erik ten Hag, the former manager of Ajax, who then came to Man United, signed Anthony on this bombshell transfer. And it didn't end up working out, right? Because while there was potential in Anthony as a player, which I'm sure he will realize now that he went to Real Betis, that potential will come through. It just didn't work because he wasn't a finished product and he was never tested in the Prem. When it comes to poaching, I think it's extremely similar. Poaching is the equivalent of signing Van Persie, right? A finished product who has already showed you that they can, deliver the goods under pressure in that situation, in that league, right? Whereas with, grads as founding engineers and things, I think is most likely the way to go. Young kids as founding engineers because they have so much more to prove. But you can't predict these things,
Mm-hmm.
right? The difference between an Anthony and a Van Persie is finer than most people would like to think. And you cannot predict these things as well as much.
Important lessons there. So for how long were you without a co-founder?
A year?
A year. So year of building stuff on your own.
Year of primarily like researching and building. And now with Pranjal on board, it's turned from a company that was
in the garage.
cute. Yeah, still in the garage, to be fair. I think that's the best place to be. But it's turned from a company that was cute and like doing research and being like, wow, AR glasses are fun, to saying, fuck you, we're going to make the best AR glasses ever, right? And sure, you can equate that change with having Pranjal on board just because he is a co-founder and he is on board. But I think you can also equate it with the kind of person Pranjal is and the things he brings to the table. So I think that makes a huge difference as well.
Okay. So now the next question. Now you have been doing this like 2023, right?
That was primarily research 2023, 2024, but yeah.
So now you do have like enough knowledge on how do you build a hardware startup.
Yeah.
Let's say a kid who's studying in college, or let's say if Shourya in college had to build a hardware startup from scratch, what advice would you give him right now?
Well, first, don't go to B school. That's the first advice. Don't go to business school. Second advice is start tinkering as soon as you can. And third piece of advice is it is not only about the features that you can bring to the table. It is not just about ergonomics and weight and things like that. All of those things make a huge difference. But more than anything in hardware, especially rather only in consumer hardware, will you find this very unique proposition happen. A lot of things are a matter of taste, right? A lot of things are a matter of taste. When you go to prosumer hardware, not consumer, professionals as consumers, prosumer, or you go B2B hardware, or you go robotics for labs and things like that, a greater emphasis is put on what you can offer because it isn't a final facing product. It isn't a product for the final consumer. It is still maybe a step behind in the chain reaching the consumer.
Right.
Things like that. Right? Of course, with prosumer hardware, you see things happening anywhere. People are making these pipe leak detectors that travel down pipes and use ultrasound or infrared to see where the leaks are. Right? With that, it doesn't matter if it's best looking product, if it has taste. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's shit.
Right.
You have to make sure it works more than making sure that people feel something when they use it. With consumer hardware, it's completely different. The reason smartphones existed before Apple and still couldn't capture market share, even though they were first movers, was because Apple got it all together and did it tastefully.
Right.
The reason the smartwatch market, even Garmin existed for ages before the smartwatch market in a consumer way, blew up outside just the early adopters, was because Pebble came in. And Pebble was this flash of fun and energy and just brightness that was completely unprecedented at the time. And it is my opinion that without Pebble, we wouldn't have the smartwatch market where it is today.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing with AR glasses. AR glasses have existed. It just nobody's done them right. Nobody's done them well.
Now it's time to bring in the taste.
Yeah. And you have to do it tastefully. And shout out Abhay. Abhay leads an incredible content team called Tastefully. So you guys should check that out as well. Abhay Shenoy. But it's a matter of taste, yeah. So those would be my three pieces of stupid advice to any kid who wants to do consumer hardware, especially. If you just want to do hardware, get as deep as you can. Get absolutely as deep as you can. Learn as many things as you can. And genuinely blow things up.
Get your hands burned.
Yeah, exactly. I understand a lot of people will not have financial backing to order components and then blow them up, which is why it helps to get research grants or grants from your college or even use your college equipment. I'm not saying blow your college equipment up. Don't quote me that way. Do not blow your college equipment up, but use it. Use it to learn. A turning point in our company was when we won the Yukti Innovation Challenge, which was a government grant. And for some reason, the Indian government is a lot more alpha, not alpha as in alpha, beta, sigma, wolf, whatever, but just the alpha exists with the government for some reason, where they are able to back young founders doing crazy shit in a way that Indian VCs won't. And if I talk about Indian VCs, I will get blacklisted on Twitter, so please don't make me do that. But yeah, the government is a great place to look when it comes to grants. If you are truly doing something novel, something that deserves time and attention, and especially money, I think the government will see it and the government will reward you as such. After that, it is your job to do with it what you can. And I do not think, as a hardware founder, you are entitled to VC money.
Right.
This was my mistake when I first started out because of the amount of research I had done and the kind of prototypes I had built. I thought raising money would be easy. Raising money is not easy, right? And especially in hardware, especially in India. If you are doing hardware in India, do not expect it. That's another piece of advice. I want this ecosystem to acknowledge hardware
Mhm.
a lot, which is where incredible people like Suhas come in, who's going to be your next guest. It's my understanding.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Suhas is going to be your next guest. People like Suhas and K come in this gap that is extremely tiny, but is also extremely high value to back founders who are doing cool things
Right.
in markets that Indian VCs can't predominantly understand, which is why I think even the Local Host Fellowship was the best month of my life.
Right.
So find these people, find these fellowships, and blow shit up.
So to summarize your advice, first, start tinkering, start experimenting as soon as possible. Second advice,
Second advice would be to go to a good college that has people that you can kind of learn from, that can put you in situations where you find yourself soaking up as much knowledge as possible in an extremely short period of time. And government grants are super helpful.
the current situation, there are a lot of grants who are ready to back early founders, young builders.
Yeah.
So I do have like this long list of grants. I would link that below, and you can visit Startup India website. That's a good starting point. Or you can visit your, like, if your college has an incubation center, visit them. They will guide you through it, like at least how the whole process works.
No, definitely. Startup India is a great initiative, and Amitabh Kant is an incredible guy. Even Deepan Sahu is somebody who's instrumental in leading Startup India, and they've done a phenomenal job. I wouldn't have won the YIC had it not been for Startup India.
Mhm.
But when you look at even private grants that aren't central government or state government or any government body, there are a couple of really good ones. And one that I would like to put emphasis on right now is 3F VC.
Mhm.
They very recently launched. I'm not just saying this because I did the voiceover for the launch video. And I'm definitely not just saying this because I'm an advisor for 3F VC. But I think the person leading 3F VC is an incredible human being, and he's a very good friend of mine, Yash Pandit Rao. If you are a student building something or trying to solve a hard problem, you should definitely take a look at 3F VC, 3F.VC. You will find them there. Their application is very simple, very straightforward. We've been lucky enough to already receive some incredible applications from some extremely talented people. And I think Yash and the team are doing a fantastic job on making something like this happen. Of course, localhost is, for me, the place to be for fellowships and things like that. And Suhas is just an incredible human being. You can even check out EVM Capital, things like that for grants. Basically, all it's about is finding someone to share conviction with you. And when it comes to early stage grants, these guys share a lot of conviction with you. You can also look at Upsurge grants started by Somay and so the entire team at Upsurge, who are like really, really fun people. You can look at Emergent Ventures EV, right, which for a lot of people is the holy grail of early stage grants, non-dilutive grants, especially for high ticket sizes. If I were to say it, I think 3F, Localhost, EV, Upsurge, EVM.
1517 Medici. There are.
Well, yeah, Medici grant is great, 1517. Correct. Mercatus as well.
I would link all of these below. So, like, anyone interested can start applying.
Exactly. Also check out like Bagel Fund started by Ari. Ari also leads Merge. So merge.club. So that's a very comprehensive list of grants overall. I really think you should check that out if you want to kind of get into the grant ecosystem. One thing I would advise against, not because of anything else, but just because it gets really annoying to see, is becoming a grant farmer.
Mhm.
Just like winning grants on a potentially really good idea and then doing nothing with that and just using the money to, like, I don't know, buy a Switch 2 or a Steam Deck or some shit. Don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
grants are given out because people want to see you change the world and they trust you to change the world.
Mhm.
I think on a certain level, you wouldn't have started out if you didn't trust yourself. So if you won a grant, change the world, right? Or at least try your best to.
Don't be a status seeking student, please.
Yeah, grants are not status symbols. It doesn't end with you putting it on your Twitter. It begins with you putting it on your Twitter, and it ends with you having a product
Right.
that you can actually show the world. It can actually help human beings, and not just human beings. It can help the world.
So now we will move to the last question. We have gotten enough advice. Now I would like some.
Okay.
I would like a few book suggestion, podcast suggestion, or any blog post or essays that you felt like were the most impactful for you.
Okay. For podcasts, I don't listen to podcasts.
Mhm.
I'm so
No, no,
sorry.
no
I know
problem.
I'm so sorry. I think when it comes to things like this, my main motivators have not been podcasts. They've definitely been books. But books haven't been motivators. They've been things that kind of give you direction. But for me, the main motivators have been superhero movies. Right? I know this sounds stupid, But like, this makes a huge difference to me, and this makes a huge difference to me, right? And like, this makes a huge difference to me. And there's a Batman over there, but that's too far away. I'm not going to go get that. But you see these people, right? They're human beings, and they're doing things that people shouldn't be able to do. And I think starting a company is very similar, because you shouldn't be able to take that level of stress. You shouldn't be able to take that level of physical burnout in a lot of cases, and mental pain when you're starting a company. But you kind of power through it because you owe it to the world, right? To
Right.
be able to do something good with your life, to be able to help people with your life, to be able to help the world with your life. And you feel like you're capable, right? And that capability brings with it responsibility. Oh my God, I get it now. With great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, superhero movies have been extremely instrumental for me. I even chopped up Iron Man 1 into like this 15-minute video of my personal favorite, most motivating moments out of Iron Man 1. If I were to give you a list of hardware positive superhero movies, it would be all of them. Like every superhero movie
I know,
ever,
right? I know.
except for like Blue Beetle and dumbass shit that comes out of these Sony studios. I don't know, once a year, twice a year. But yeah, Iron Man 1, 3, of course 2 as well is great, just not as good as 1. Spider-Man Homecoming is incredible because it shows Peter Parker is just a student figuring school out and being Spider-Man. Of course, you have Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, especially Batman Begins, because you have so much stuff happening tech-wise, even in Batman Begins, where he builds the suit and you get to understand a few things that they're trying to do. Of course, none of it's real, but still. Dawn of Justice, Batman versus Superman, the Ben Affleck one, the first time Ben Affleck is seen, is where you see Ben and Alfred, Jeremy Irons as Alfred, who's incredible, by the way, kind of working on a bunch of things, right? And even the new Batman, which is the Robert Pattinson Batman, right? It's extremely realistic. He's shooting himself up with adrenaline. His bat logo turns into the only batarang he has, and he uses it to cut stuff. And instead of this electrically activating and strengthening cape that turns into a glider, he has an actual wingsuit, which is super realistic, right? And I think in that way, of course, it helps that the Batmobile is an old modified muscle car, and the Batpod, which is the bike, is a modified cafe racer. I think superhero movies are the way to go when it comes to hardware. It's not a coincidence that so many people that got into hardware cite Tony Stark
Exactly.
as the holy grail of hardware founders. You know,
He has done more for hardware than I don't think any
exactly,
any
exactly.
CEO or co-founder has.
Yeah. So my co-founder and I both have like Tony Stark figurines in our room. And I found that out after I went to his place and had dinner with his family. But like holy shit, man! Like, we have the same figurines. He had Iron Man. I had Iron Man. He had Gogeta from Dragon Ball Z. I have Gogeta up there. Can't see it because it's blurred, but like it's there. So is Broly. But yeah, like, these things make a huge difference. Superhero movies make a huge difference. Everybody starts with 0 to 1. Peter Thiel. The lean startup is it's okay. It's not life changing stuff. Masters of Scale and Blitzscaling are fun books. They're fun books. The Innovator's Dilemma is great when you're starting off, not because it applies to you, but because it applies to big companies and it teaches them how not to fail when it comes to disruptive and innovative market strategies, which is why you use that knowledge, kind of reverse engineer it as a small company to make a big company. That's kind of how your mind ends up reading that book as a startup. Clayton Christensen's The Innovator's Dilemma is great. Michael Porter's Competitive Strategy. Competitive Strategy was written, I think, in the 1980s or 90s and explores tools of charting out your competitors in many different ways. You might know Michael Porter from Porter's Five Forces. He's like, I think, the godfather of his field, as is Clayton Christensen. So I think Clayton Christensen and Michael Porter are people to read. Innovator's Dilemma and Competitive Strategy are fantastic. Think of them as textbooks. They're not like ऐसा
Casually
you know
पढ़ना नहीं है.
ऐसा
Study them.
हाँ मैं ऐसा बेड पे बैठ के पढ़ रहा हूँ wow Instagrammy aesthetic Pinterest and all that bullshit. Nah, fuck that. This is something you study. This is a textbook. Yeah, those things are there. Of course, quality of life books also exists. Cal Newport has written a bunch of books that kind of help you identify how to work better and things like that. Like cute stuff like that. But for this, yeah, I think these are the books I would read. I have read. Rather.
So yes, it was actually really nice talking to you. I got to learn a lot from your
Same here, man.
processes and your
Thank you.
journey as a whole.
I actually have a question for
Huh?
you.
Sure, sure.
Why start a podcast?
There's a gap. I had been sitting on this idea for over a year. This friend of mine, Arpit Ingre, you must have seen him on Twitter.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
We would usually go on for hours and hours talking about tech, and we always used to have good conversation. He was like, "You can start a podcast," and I was like, "Yes." And we are like very focused on like deep tech and hard tech side of things. So that's why now we have a podcast that is focused on deep tech.
I'm super glad. Deep tech needs more recognition. Cool people are in deep tech, and people have to realize that there's a bunch of really cool stuff happening in this field as a whole.
That's the main thing. Deep tech is the main thing. All of the innovations that came out of San Francisco, SF became SF because of the innovations. It didn't become SF because of the hype products that are coming out right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had like the birth of the transistor in Bell Labs
That's what made
is
Silicon
like
Valley
one of the
Silicon
biggest
Valley.
moments in, yeah, exactly. So the biggest moments in world history. It's not even like computer history, world history. And I think people deserve to have innovation.
I think we are at this point like India would finally seeing our own innovations for the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
Super excited, super bullish on the coming 2 decades actually.
yeah. It's going to be really fun. By the time we're in our 40s, we're going to live in a great India, hopefully.
Yes.
Not an India that is governed by solely politics or solely right of being somewhere, nepotism wise, but I think an India that is governed by merit, that is governed by empathy, that is governed by people's abilities to talk to each other and understand each other. And I think that's where we all need to reach. And I think all of innovation just is facilitating a better world.
Right.
Unless you're anti-util, in which case fucking blow shit up. So I don't know. Shout out Palmer Lucky, man. I love that guy. I mean, he's the most like divisive, controversial founder I've seen who hasn't actually committed a crime. Because I'm not talking about like Elizabeth Holmes or like Sam Bankman-Fried, but Palmer Lucky, man. What a guy. What a specimen. And of course, him making Oculus is kind of like one of my inspirations as well. I don't give a fuck about his politics, if I'm being honest with you. He's a super cool guy who's made super insanely good tech. And I think at some point when we do end up interacting, I will tell him that.
And at the end, defense tech is important.
Defense tech is great. Defense tech is phenomenal. Offense tech is where it gets a little scary. Yeah.
It was really, really great talking to you, man. Thank you for your time.
Likewise. Dude, 100%. Anytime, man.